Hi guys, it's me again, Kristen. It's been a minute. I'm definitely aware of that. So I decided to make this video a very short video. Um, I'm just going to briefly discuss a few things. Um, as you might know, I'm pretty much an advocate for everything mental health. I'm pro-black. I'm a black feminist. And I'm also an advocate and supporter of the LGBTQ community. And so, thinking about that, I wanted to talk about Duanna Johnson. She was a transgender woman, and she was arrested by police officers, and she was also brutally beaten by them. And so, she threatened them in the city with a lawsuit, and then she was later found killed. And just her being beaten by officers, and guards and things like that, that's just huge transphobia. And again, police brutality in general. And that's something I'm going to touch on later with a special treat. um but I also want to tie this because I watch soap operas. I'm an old lady. Bold and the Beautiful soap opera is currently doing a transgender storyline. And I see some are having a problem with it because, it's not a trans woman telling the story. But I just want to say that it's being beautifully done. They're tackling some of the questions that, cisgender people ask, like, like, how do you know you're a woman or things like that. Like, it's tackling the issue very well. And I think you guys would be great. So if you could check it out, go on CBS.com or whatever, watch it and see how they're telling the story, it would be great. And if you could offer your own stories, maybe that'll help some of these people out here because I've read such ignorant, crazy comments. Um, Other things I want to talk about is just a very chill video, very brief. I'll probably post another one in less than a week since this one is so chill and not as um, information based and as thorough as I like to be. I want to discuss the Tuskegee syphilis study briefly. So basically, this happened in the it started in the early 1900s and it continued, I'd say about 1940, and it continued for 30 years. And so basically, what they did was they wanted to see the effects of syphilis in the body all the way till death. So they decided to test 400, 500 black men for this, but the thing is, they didn't let them know they had syphilis, which was like, at the time, life threatening or fatal, and they thought they were just being treated for bad blood. So some people they actually injected with syphilis. Some of the black men they didn't even have syphilis, but they were injected with it. And while this study was going on, they developed penicillin, which is a treatment for syphilis, but they did not give it to the black men at all. It was not offered to them. And when some of the black men noticed that they weren't getting better and they weren't doing any better, um, you know, the um, the Department of Health who were doing this, they enlisted a black nurse to convince the black men to continue with the study. So they it was very smart on their part and very manipulative and wrong, to use someone from their own community against them. And I don't know what was offered to her for her to do that to her own community, but whatever. But yeah, so she was used as a puppet to keep them along in the study or whatever. But yeah, it continued for decades, 3 decades, maybe four. Um, and it was very racialized, and I might can discuss it more in my next video. But essentially, it just held racial ideas. These black men, like, they're not gonna go anywhere. They're gonna die anyway, and to keep some of them going the experiment, they were just given $50 to go towards their funeral. And they were just like these black men. They were just seen, as dirty, as unhealthy. So it's not a big deal. I definitely will try to include the actual language used in the study because I actually read the whole study, so I'll try to use that in the next one. Um, I also wanted to discuss a few things personal: insecurity, self love, and depression. Again, I'm a mental health advocate, and I like to, kind of talk about my story. Um, I've battled depression since I was 13 years old. I am now 21 years old, going on 22. And it's a definite struggle and a definite battle, and not everyone understands. A lot of people don't really understand, and it's something that never really goes away, you know? And it's just something you have to deal with. And depression is just not, oh, I feel sad today, or I had a bad day, so I'm sad. No, like it's a sadness, a deepness, an emptiness, a void that you can't explain, you can't articulate, like. And sometimes you feel numb. Sometimes you can't feel, and sometimes you can just feel so hopeless, like I'm stuck, like it's just not gonna get better, or you just feel hopeless in general. I know I have, and and some people it affects them to the point where they think about taking their lives, and you know, I've been there. I've never actually attempted, but I've definitely had those thoughts, like would the world really miss me? What would be, what would it be like if I was actually gone? Do I still need to be here? What is my purpose? Do I belong here? Should I be on this earth? But you do. You do belong here. You should be here. And just fight. And I mean, even now, I'm still fighting. I'm still dealing with it. And, it's a daily fight, a daily struggle. What I hate is that, like, I believe in God, and, you know, God is everywhere. He's in everything, All my blessings, these things I have, is because of Him. But, some people who are very religious say all you need is Jesus. You just need to pray on it or talk to your priest or pastor. Sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you need more, and sometimes people need to talk to a therapist, and that's okay too. Some people need to be on antidepressants, or if you're bipolar, maybe lithium, or whatever it may be, whatever is wrong with you. You can get through it and it'll be okay. Just because maybe praying isn't helping, it's nothing wrong with you. It's just how it is. Sometimes you need more. Prayer and Bible and the scriptures, they're all great, but sometimes you need extra. You need a little bit more. And God says He only helps those who help themselves. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put forth that effort. Sometimes maybe you need a little extra, and then God will help you along the way and push you and get you where you need to be. And I also suffer from anxiety. It's crazy, both generalized and social. Um, and they're definitely hard to deal with. And I've actually had my first bouts with panic attacks. How delightful. But moving on briefly, I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Um, Self love is very important. Always take care of yourself. Love and nurture yourself. I have a tattoo. It's covered up by the sweater, but it's love yourself first in Arabic. And it took me a long time to get to the place where I'm at now, where I love myself, and I put myself first. I make wise decisions. I don't just go along with things for the benefit of others. I think about myself and what would be beneficial to me. Um, And self love is so much. Like, especially if you're battling depression, it might be hard for you to get up and take a shower. But you know what? If you get up and you take that shower, celebrate yourself, because you are, you're exercising your self love, your self care. You're taking care of yourself, especially when you're going through something so hard and so difficult to deal with. But you still found that way to do it. You know what I'm saying? And self care comes in, self love comes in so many forms, like just doing that, or, just hydrating yourself, drinking your water, making sure you have your fruit. That's self love. That's taking care of yourself. It can be more than just, um, oh, I love myself. And, it also comes down to, loving your body, embracing who you are, falling in love with yourself. I feel like everyone should fall in love with themselves first. And I feel like it's a process. Everything's a process. So love is a process. The journey is a process. Falling in love with yourself is a process. But you can get there, and it's so needed. And I'm still, sometimes I still fall off the wagon, and I'm still dealing with it. But, I can honestly say I love myself now, and I think that's just an amazing feeling. And, on Tumblr, you can look up the tags self love, self care, and it'll give you great things. And I also found affirmations so empowering, and they will definitely help you with your journey. With self love. And if you know me or you follow me on Tumblr, I definitely do a lot of affirmations. Like one thing I always say is that you are gold. And, like I say, I am gold. And, some people, like, they might want silver, they might prefer silver, or they might not recognize how golden you are. But you know what? You are still gold at the end of the day. And I also, I just have so many. And I feel like affirmations, just, getting to the habit of doing those is very beneficial. And then I wanted to talk about insecurities briefly. because I see my videos a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. Again, as always. But the things I've noticed is that all of my insecurities, they've stemmed from my own community, the black community. And everybody knows I'm pro-black and everything like that. And I really love my black community and my sisters and my brothers and my kings and my queens. But every insecurity I've always had has come from my community, like my lips. You see this pink right here. I was teased for that, like they made me feel like, oh, my lips are red. They're disgusting. They're not normal. My skin color. Just, it took me so long to fall in love with myself, and now I love my melanin on fleek. But it took me so long to fall in love with my skin color because in my community, if you were light, you were right. If you were dark, you weren't. So it took me a while to love my skin and to fall in love with my skin and see my skin and myself is beautiful regardless. Um, I mean, plenty of insecurities I've had. These all stem from my community. I mean, even my body type. Like, I'm a black girl, but I have no boobs. Anything you might see, hello, push-up bra. Um, and I don't have a big butt. Like, I don't. And in the black community, the curvaceous, the thickness, especially the booty, that's what's valued and that's what's praised. And I don't have that. So, body insecurities that I might have, it occurs from that. In my own community. Just noting that. Um, Speaking of police brutality, I just, the whole Martese Johnson case that's going on with the UVA student who was assaulted by police officers over a fake ID, which was not a fake ID. And, they said he wasn't being threatening or forceful or anything, so I understand why they had to, assault him. So, I don't have all the information on that, so I'm just going to stop there. But I want to include this poem that I was introduced to in one of my sociology classes. It's a spoken word piece on police brutality, and I think that it just really brings home the point. Um, but before I show that, I also want to talk briefly of something that just came to my mind about how there was this news report, and it was like this gang violence that happened in the neighborhood. And so they saw fit to interview a little 4-year-old boy who just witnessed murders and all of this and that. If that was a 4-year-old white boy, they would say he's too traumatized. They wouldn't dare speak to him after that. But, adultification, black boys, youth, black women as well, they are not seen as children. They are not seen as innocent. They are not afforded that same thing that white children are. So anyway, they interviewed him and they asked him, "Are you going to get a gun?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to get me a gun." And, I can't remember all of it, but I will definitely share that in the next video, a little clip of that. But anyway, they cut it short. Anyway, but what they aired on TV, they were making it seem like he was going to be another gang member, another violent person out on the streets. But in the news reporter who was white, he said, "Very scary situation indeed." But what they did not show in the whole full clip, when asked why he was going to have a gun, he said because he wanted to be a cop. Here you are showing that this young boy wants to be a cop who he thinks are good guys. He wants to help stop this violence in the neighborhood, yet y'all are trying to perpetuate as if he is going to be more violent. He's going to, add to the violence. But no, he was trying to stop it. He wants to be a police officer. But y'all didn't show that. Y'all even portraying little 4-year-old boys in a bad light to make them seem dangerous and violent to perpetuate the racial narrative spewed about black people and things like that. Well, anyway, I just want to stop there and just add that in there. And I'm going to show you the video now. Enjoy.
So I'm driving down the street with my 4-year-old nephew. He knocking back a juice box, me a Snapple. Today, y'all, we are doing manly shit. I love watching the way his mind works. He asks a million questions. "Uncle, why is the sky blue? Uncle, how do cars go? Uncle, why don't dogs talk? Uncle, uncle, uncle." He asks uncle, uncle, uncle. He asks uncle, 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 as if his voice box is a warped record. I try my best to answer every question I do. I say it's because the way the sun lights up the outer space is because engines make the wheels go. It's because their minds aren't quite like ours. I say yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, no. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. We laugh. He smiles, looks out the window, spots a cop car, drops his seat and says, "Oh man, Uncle, 5-0, we gotta hide." I'll be honest. I'm not happy with the way we raise our black boys. Don't like the fact that he learned to hide from the cops well before he knew how to read. Angrier that his survival depends more on his ability to deal with authorities than it does his own literacy. Get up, I yell at him. In this car, in this family, we are not afraid of the law. I wonder if he can hear the uncertainty in my voice. Is today the day he learns that Uncle is willing to lie to him? That I'm more human than I am hero. We both know the truth is far more complex than do not hide. Both know too many black boys who disappeared, names lost, know too many Trayvon Martins, Oscar Grants, and Abner Louimas, know too many Sean Bells and Amadou Diallos, know too well that we are the hard-boiled sons of Emmett Till still. We both know it's not about whether or not the shooter is racist. It's about how poor black boys are treated as problems well before we're treated as people. Black boys in this country cannot afford to play cops and robbers if we're always considered the latter. Don't have the luxuries of playing war if we're already in one. Where I'm from, seeing cop cars drive down the street feels a lot like low-flying planes in New York City. Where I'm from, routine traffic stops are more like minefields. Any wrong move could very well mean your life. And how do I look my nephew in his apple face and tell him to be strong when we both know black boys who are murdered every day simply for standing up for themselves? I take him by the hand, I say be strong. I tell him, I say be smart. Be kind and polite. Know your laws. Be aware of how quickly your hand moves to pocket for wallet or ID. Be more aware of how quickly an officer's hand moves to holster for gun. Be black. Be a boy. Have fun. Because this world will force you to become a man far more quickly than you'll ever have to need to. He lets go of my hand, but Uncle, he asks, Uncle, what happens if the cop is really mean? And it scares me to know that he, like so many other black boys, is getting ready for a war I can't prepare him for.
That was Javon Johnson.